We all know the name, the face, and the horrifying legacy of Adolf Hitler. But beyond the history books and the grim headlines, there lies a bizarre and often overlooked side to the man who plunged the world into war. Today, we repealing back the layers of propaganda and myth to uncover 10 lesser known facts about Adolf Hitler that might just change how you see this infamous figure. Not to humanize him, but to understand the strange complexities of one of history's greatest villains. Let's start with something you probably wouldn't expect. Hitler was a staunch advocate for animal rights. It sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? He enacted comprehensive animal welfare laws in Germany, some of the strictest in Europe at the time. He was a committed vegetarian, primarily citing his love for animals and disgust at the idea of slaughter. He would often lecture his meat-eating dinner guests, describing in graphic detail the suffering of the animals they were consuming. This compassion for animals stood in terrifying contrast to his complete lack of empathy for human beings. It's a psychological puzzle that historians and psychologists still debate today. Here's another strange tidbit. Hitler had a serious sweet tooth. He reportedly consumed pounds of chocolate and sweets every day. His personal chefs were under constant pressure to create elaborate desserts, and he often ended his meals with a mountain of cakes, pastries, and sugared treats. This sugar addiction likely contributed to his notoriously bad dental health and chronic stomach problems, which he complained about constantly. His personal physician, Theodor Morell, prescribed him a cocktail of over 80 different drugs to manage his various ailments, many of which were questionable at best. Did you know that Hitler was once nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize? Yes, you heard that right. In 1939, a Swedish legislator named E.G.C. Brandt nominated him, but it was meant as a satirical protest. Brandt was an anti-fascist and intended the nomination to be a sharp criticism of the political climate at the time, mocking the nomination of British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain for his appeasement policy. The nomination was quickly withdrawn, but it remains a shocking and ironic footnote in the history of the Nobel Prize. Before he was a dictator, Hitler was a failed artist. As a young man in Vienna, he dreamed of becoming a great painter. He applied to the prestigious Academy of Fine Arts Vienna twice and was rejected both times. The Academy's committee told him his talents were more suited to architecture. His paintings, mostly watercolors of buildings and landscapes, were considered mediocre and lacking in originality and human figures. He continued to paint throughout his life, and many art critics believe his artistic rejection fueled his deep-seated resentment and sense of failure, which later morphed into political rage. And as a chilling thought, how might history have been different if he'd been accepted into art school? Let's talk about his family. The name Hitler is now synonymous with evil, but it wasn't always his family's name. His father, Alois, was born illegitimate, and for the first 39 years of his life, he used his mother's surname, Schicklgruber. He only legally changed his name to Hitler in 1876. Can you imagine the course of history under the chant, Heil Schicklgruber? It certainly doesn't have the same menacing ring. This name change has led to many conspiracy theories, but the truth is likely far more mundane, related to inheritance and social standing. Another surprising fact is Hitler's obsession with the American automobile. Henry Ford. He deeply admired Ford, not just for his revolutionary assembly line production, but also for his rampant anti-Semitism. Ford's book, The International Jew, was widely circulated in Nazi Germany and was said to have been a major influence on Hitler's own ideology. Hitler even kept a life-size portrait of Henry Ford in his office in Munich. In 1938, the Nazi regime awarded Ford the Grand Cross of the German Eagle, the highest honor a foreigner could receive. Here's one that sounds like it's straight out of a spy movie. During World War II, British intelligence concocted a bizarre plan to feminize Hitler. Their idea was to smuggle estrogen into his food. They believed that by making him more feminine, they could curb his aggressive tendencies and make him more docile, perhaps even causing him to develop female physical traits. The plan was never carried out. as they couldn't find a reliable way to get the hormones past his team of personal food tasters. It remains one of the stranger and ultimately abandoned plots of the war. Despite his powerful and commanding public speaking persona, Hitler reportedly had a deep-seated fear of public speaking in his early days. He suffered from stage fright and would meticulously rehearse his speeches, practicing his gestures and intonations in front of a mirror for hours. His personal photographer, Heinrich Hoffmann, was ordered to take photos of him during these practice sessions so he could review and perfect his poses. These photos, which Hitler later ordered destroyed, show him in exaggerated, almost theatrical stances, a far cry from the confident orator the world came to know. Let's delve into his personal life. Hitler never learned how to drive a car. Despite his fascination with automobiles and his role in creating the Volkswagen, the people's car, and the German Autobahn highway system, he always relied on a chauffeur. Perhaps it was a matter of status, or maybe a lack of mechanical aptitude. Whatever the reason, the man who mobilized an entire nation and its industrial might prefer to be a passenger. Finally, our 10th fact concerns his health and a rather peculiar theory. Hitler had a notorious fear of blades. He was terrified of razors and would not let a barber shave him with a straight razor, preferring to do it himself. This phobia, combined with his chronic stomach cramps, led some historians and even a U.S. intelligence report to speculate that he might have had only one testicle. The report, compiled during the war, cited his childhood doctor's records. While this rumor, often mocked in the popular song, "Hitler has only got one ball," was confirmed by an autopsy report from his Russian captors after the war. Many historians still debate its validity. It's a strange, personal detail that has become part of the mythology surrounding him. From a failed artist to a vegetarian animal lover, from a sugar addict to a Nobel nominee, the private life of Adolf Hitler was a tapestry of contradictions and bizarre habits. These facts don't excuse or diminish the monstrous atrocities he committed, but they do offer a more nuanced and unsettling portrait of the man behind the monster. Understanding these complexities is crucial, not to sympathize, but to recognize that evil can wear many strange and unexpected faces. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the lesser-known side of history. If you found this interesting, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more historical explorations. Let us know in the comments which facts surprised you the most. See you next time.